I honestly think February is one of the best months for AI right now. We see some huge fundamental changes in what's going on. But at the same time, what model do you use right now? There's so many new releases, both coming from the US and from China. What's the honest take? For me personally, I've been trying out almost everything on AI for the past few months. And I have some few things to say about the current models and where they're at, and have some really strong suggestions for what I personally use and for what you should go for going on. So let's take a review in this video of what the frontier models are like right now, and then we'll take a look at my personal suggestions and what you should use to build anything that you want or for your agent. So let's start first and foremost. All right, so we have a presentation for you guys, which is great. But right now the landscape is quite crazy because in February there's quite a few new launches, both from the US side and the China side. So the US side, we have Opus 4.6, the coding juggernaut. All right, this is the absolute coding juggernaut. And ChatGPT, OpenAI, made their 5.3 Codex. The TLDR between these two models is that they're great, absolutely amazing. I think Gemini didn't really make it up on the list, but these two, for Opus and Gemini, they're just slightly different in terms of how they think, but in terms of cost, they're absolutely the most expensive. But at the same time, Opus is kind of like the one that, if you're a beginner, they talk to you a lot, they're very chatty, sometimes quirky, and GPT seems to be the one that's like, can get shit done, but won't really talk to you that much. So that's the TLDR on that. On the China side, there's a huge surge right now for AI releases. That's because right now it was February 15th here. Basically, Chinese New Year is right around the corner, so everyone's packing up to take their massive 7-day holiday, which is why they're releasing everything at once. Yet again, we'll talk about these individually. The TLDR for these Chinese models is that they're dirt cheap, right? They can do almost 95% of what US models are doing. And before, there was a huge gap. Now it's just like what this says here is like the frontier, the gap is just few weeks of progress. So anyways, we'll review that in the full amount. So for GPT, just this slide here very quickly. GPT, the coding is substantially better. And if you use it with Codex, which is the OpenAI client, it actually works very well. Personally, for me though, in terms of programming, in terms of the most amount of money that I'm burning, let me just throw this here. Let's see CC usage. This is just on one of my agents. Let me just. Oh wait. Let me load my. Which one do I load? Yeah, I have way too many coding agents here. Is it Box Money AI? Wait, is it? I thought it's Team Box Money. Anyways, regardless, I don't know why I have so many computers here, but honestly, Opus is the one that I've been spending the most amount of money in. I think you've probably seen me like send out tweets where like I'm burning around $200 a day on these models. And honestly, if it sounds like a lot, but it's worth it if you're building something big, like a dashboard, like you're fixing a major bug. Opus seems to me, for me, just works the best, right? It just like gets the job done. Google Gemini, I honestly haven't tried it that much. The new thinking model seems to be trying to catch up with the other models. And honestly, yeah, it's not, if you're a coder, if you're doing anything, these ones seems to be the GPT and the 5 series, and Opus seems to be frontier, and people just seem to be ignoring Gemini. Grok seems to be okay, but coding not so much, but I use Grok on a daily basis because it's included with my X plan. So yeah, it was just like, it's just most convenient one to use, and it's the best one to use with X itself because it has all the data from Twitter or X, whatever they want to call it. But because of that, you have the most up-to-date news, frontier news on everything. I actually also use Mistral AI. This one I use for just embeddings and just for small tasks. Llama, I don't use as much. I know that you guys on the channel, you guys have been talking about local Llama. Local Llama runs really, really well. You're getting around 80% of what the top models are providing, but for cheap on your own computer. So yeah, it's not bad. Open weight, not bad, but also at the same time, not frontier. DeepSeek was the disruptor, but I don't really see them showing up that much. Maybe the next DeepSeek is going to come in a few days. Yet again, I didn't see it, so I'm gonna skip this guide. It's not really relevant right now. The more relevant ones are Kimi, Minimax, and GLM5. I think these are, I would say, yeah, the most relevant for you if you're learning AI. So for me, I've actually 2.5 here, there's a typo. But Minimax released 2.5, which has a really great coding plan, honestly. So I was very tempted to use this long term because it has coding capabilities, it has your agentic capabilities, and they're saying it's around 95% of what Opus is offering. Yet again, the coding plan is really where I think this really shines, honestly, is because when you're on a coding plan, you have a very generous usage for it. Sorry, this is, yeah, let me actually go here. Minimax IO. So, blah, blah, blah. So you're quite generous in terms of the coding plan, in the sense that you can have around 300 prompts every 5 hours. So this actually gives you a lot of flexibility. So if you're using this for your agent, you just don't have to worry about heartbeats. You don't have to worry about overusing it. It's like more or less it's good to go. I would say the same with Anthropic's plan as well. All these coding plans give you a lot of value for what you're paying for. If you're just paying for like a full, if you're fully paying for the build, it's expensive. And it gets up. And why it gets so expensive for me is because I don't just use it for agentic use. I use it for programming. And if I want a new feature, it typically burns more than what I have. But anyways, that's digressing. But Minimax, very, very cheap. Same thing with Kimi. I would say using Kimi, the agent swarm is actually the most interesting aspect of Kimi. Let's just see the agent swarm here. You can deploy an agent swarm to help you with everything. Agent swarm beta, so you can use a swarm to help you complete your tasks. I don't think it's very cheap either. So I'm on the Allegretto plan just because I bought the Kimi Cloud, which was very mediocre. But the plan is around $40 a month. So, you know, take it as you leave it. I think I personally would only just do this plan for 1 month and then just switch to another model. And I would never really pay annually for any of these. I don't think I want to be locked into an ecosystem for that long. I'm constantly trying something else. And on that note as well, you can also try everything on OpenRouter. All the plans and models are here. So you can just try that, plug it in, and see what works for you. And they have different costs. So yet again, it's really about cost efficiency trade-off. What I do think with the Chinese models is that they're very inconsistent. That's my personal thought, all right? Very, very personal, just after using all of them. Like, they don't seem to be delivering... Like, even though they rank very well on these tests, they don't seem to be delivering consistently high quality, which is why I ended up using with Opus a lot. I just didn't want to spend the extra time debugging and the headache to debug something. But yeah, yet again, it's like it depends on your use case and whatnot. This is a cool graph as well, just showing you how expensive things get. So Opus is just really expensive, like really, really, really expensive, which is why the Chinese ones have a lot of value in the space right now, just because you can do the same thing, but for a lot cheaper. But at the same time, if you're giving it critical passwords or you're giving it anything that's could be affect your users or whatnot, like, you know, you have to weigh out the costs. Say, for example, I think a good example is like, say, for example, if you're building something for Twitter X, if you use their API and some user reports a fatal flaw or a hack or whatnot, you can get your entire account suspended, which would be very, very detrimental. So that's why, like, for something that's very major, yet again, Opus really shines on that because you really want the top intelligence, which is why you have to pay the $5 per million tokens. But if you're just making something for yourself, a small tool for yourself, absolutely just go wild with Minimax. There's so much you can do with those 300 pops per every 5 hours. You can really build and min-max that usage. That's my current thinking there. So it really depends on the package that you want, and at the same time, how that features for you. So I'll say the takeaway here, okay, no clear winners, blah, blah, blah. Let's skip that slide. I'll say for any normal person, the the coding plan on Minimax is more than good enough already for just $20 a month, if you can afford it. I honestly think that all the paid models are substantially better than the free models. So it's a situation where if you want to learn AI, you should really use the best, right? And Minimax, very, very close to the best with a very affordable plan. If you really want like most pro tier, yeah, go for Opus. Anything mission critical, Anthropic Opus 4.6 is good, or just the GPT one. But generally speaking, if you're coding or doing anything, Anthropic is good. Anthropic, unfortunately, yeah, there you go. You can go that. Go and play with that. So yeah, that's the current state of AI in February. If you guys have any comments on where I should go with this topic, I thought this was just a quick topic for anyone that's not AI initiated to see what my personal opinions are on these matters. But if you guys want any additional comments or questions, tell me. I also saw a lot of comments. People really like Llama on their local models. A lot of people don't want to pay these subscription fees for using their agent or whatnot. And I totally understand that. Like I wouldn't, like for very personal stuff, I wouldn't want to be sending that information over to a model anyway. So that's why Llama makes sense, and this is why going and just downloading your local models makes sense. But for me, because I'm building, I just want the max power. So for anything that touches building, I generally prefer the very, very frontier models. So yeah, that's around it for this video. I just wanted to make a quick views on all these current models. Any comments, suggestions, send them down below. We have lots of tutorials coming up for future box mining AI videos. Yeah, we're gonna plow through and work over the holidays here. We're right now, like I said, we're Chinese, right? This is like a Chinese New Year for us. But I think I'm just gonna plow through some of this content to get it to ASAP because AI is growing so quickly. So if you have any comments, suggestions, leave them down below. We'll make videos for that, and I'll see you in the next video. Chanel, or that's Ron's phrase, but see you. Peace.